And our second main topic today gets submitted to us by Sebastian Willfork. And Sebastian Willfork writes, "Greetings, John and Rob. I think we agree that Dwayne Johnson is the biggest movie star in the world. Well, according to box office and salary numbers, he is indeed the biggest box office star in the world. Anyway, wonder what you thought of the fact that Jungle Cruise just made less than half of what Black Widow did at the domestic box office, only half of what Black Widow made on Disney Plus, and had a terrible international result. Some are saying it exceeded expectations, but how low were those expectations? What do you think? Thanks." All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yes, of course, Jungle Cruise hitting theaters. I reviewed Jungle Cruise the other day. I talked about it on the show the other day. Not a bad little movie. I mean, not as good as, well, as it maybe could have or should have been, but it's not bad. I didn't think it was a terrible movie. I don't think it was bad. It definitely had its charm. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is, of course, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He carries a world of charm and charisma with him. And then you add into that one of the most exciting, fantastic actresses in the world in Emily Blunt. They had a really great comedic chemistry together. I thought they worked very well. A lot of the supporting cast, including the guy who plays her brother, and I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy who plays Emily Blunt's brother is actually really quite good in the movie as well. Anyway, it's an okay movie. It's an okay movie. When I read that they're saying that the movie exceeded expectations, I asked the same question that Sebastian just asked. Exactly how low were their expectations? Like, how bad did they think this movie was going to do? How bad did they think this $200 million movie was going to do, that making 30-something million opening weekend, granted in a COVID era, but still, when Black Widow just recently made 80 million. Now, of course, nobody expected Jungle Cruise to make as much money as Black Widow. That would be insanity. Of course, nobody expected that. But not even half? Significantly less than half in the theaters? And then on Disney Plus, where Disney Plus is trying, look, Black Widow made 60. We're on the right track now. And then Jungle Cruise comes out and they make 30. Half. Again, nobody expected it to make Black Widow numbers. Nobody, not a single sane human being on the planet expected it to make Black Widow numbers. But half? And then it did miserable internationally. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety who write the following. The Disney film, Jungle Cruise, starring Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson, debuted slightly ahead of expectations. Again, what were their expectations? Despite concerns that the Delta variant would keep family crowds at home. At the international box office, Jungle Cruise brought in a lackluster 27, this is in like 40-something countries, brought in $27.6 million. From 47 overseas territories, buoying its worldwide box office to a haul of $61.8 million. For a movie that cost $200 million to produce, as Jungle Cruise did, its box office opening weekend would traditionally be considered a major disappointment. And I agree with Variety using the phrase here, guys, of traditionally that would be considered a major disappointment, because we are not living in a traditional time right now. We are still living in the resurgence. By the way, thank you very much to everybody not getting vaccinated. We are now in a resurgence of the pandemic, and it's affecting things. That being understood, and me acknowledging that still doesn't, to me, account for this kind of performance. You can't, like, Disney can try to spin and put on as big of a happy face as they possibly can on this. There's no getting around it. Even COVID being understood, this is a major falling flat on their faces. Especially considering that with the variant, you think that would push more people to watch from home. And you'd think that the narrative that they want to try to sell is that with the success of Black Widow, or at least one weekend of success that it had, they say this guy's going to build momentum for their Disney Premium Plus at home. But even then, it only managed to scrounge up half of what Black Widow did. Again, nobody expected it to make Black Widow numbers. but half with more people staying at home because of the variant. I don't know. To me, they can try to spin this however they want, but I think this is a disaster. I think this is an unmitigated disaster for them, especially for a movie that cost $200 million for them to produce. So, and listen, I'll say this. I didn't love Jungle Cruise, but I think it's good. And I think it deserved a little bit more attention than it got. Again, not a great movie, not one I'm going to be rushing back to the theaters to watch again, but a fairly decent enough entertaining film to sit down and watch. Anyway, Rob, you hear these numbers. I don't know. Maybe you see this differently. Maybe you see these numbers and think these are encouraging. I look at these numbers and I think these are disastrous. But I don't know, Rob, how do you look at this?
Well, I mean, I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head. It's not even about, it's about cost to benefit analysis or whatever. And the movie costs $200 million. I mean, if a movie costs that much money, you're looking at between 6 to 800 million to break even. And this isn't going to get anywhere near that, even in the best case scenario. And, I wonder sometimes, like, I thought this movie looked good. I haven't seen it yet, but I like the trailers. And as we learn more about what the movie was actually about, it seemed more and more entertaining to me. But I just wonder, sometimes in the world we live in, is this kind of a movie what audiences of today really want to see? On paper, again, I feel like sometimes on paper at the corporate level, something like this looks like it makes sense because they're like, this could be the new Pirates of the Caribbean, and I get where they're coming from. But also somebody has to stop and ask themselves, in our world today, do people want to see this even with Dwayne Johnson in it? And I don't know. I mean, clearly the answer to that was no, they didn't. And, look, I don't like it when any movie doesn't succeed because it's bad for everyone in the business. But I don't know about this movie.
Yeah, I mean, look, you also have to look at it from that point of view of, like, do people want to see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? I think they do, but it becomes a question too about the marketing. Did they market it well? Because I never thought that the marketing did anything to make a lot of people want to jump up and scream and say, yeah, let's go out and see this damn thing, And by the way, our friend RM sends in a super chat badge in the live chat. Thank you, RM. So I don't know, Kim, I mean, you look at this.
Yeah.
I can't remember if you've seen Jungle Cruise yet or not, but
no,
you see these results. I don't know. What jumps out to you? What's the impression it makes on you?
Honestly, I want to blame it on coronavirus. I really do. But I know the numbers are so low. But I kind of want to look at it from the coronavirus perspective, because if you think about, even though it does the market want to see it, kids are always going to want to see kid things, and families are always looking for an opportunity to get out of the sun, into the air conditioning, sit my kids down in front of a screen, have them go crazy. Families kind of need this right now. And not only is it I think if we were coming out of coronavirus and we didn't have Delta, I think it would definitely be doing better. But especially since LA County is back to wearing your face mask again, and I read that the Delta variant is really weighing heavily on pediatric, first responders in the hospital. Like they're really strained right now with how many kids are getting it. And as a parent, and you're thinking school is starting soon, I am not about to even try to get you sick or for you to spread it, depending on, what you're doing with the vaccine. And so I really kind of want to blame this on coronavirus.
But then the question
But I know
though,
it is so much lower than Black Widow in the same situation. That's why I'm wrestling with it.
Yeah, because if you could just blame the coronavirus thing, that just means people are staying home.
Yeah.
So you'd think more of them would pop it on Disney Plus.
Yeah, but people...
And they didn't. 30 million. Half.
I don't know about
that.
I do agree with that, but I think for families with a large amount of kids, with the price of a movie ticket, that's 2 people. If I've got my husband and I've got, me, hypothetically me, my husband, and my 4 kids, well, buying it at home, I only paid for me and my husband. My kids got it free.
So why didn't they then? That's the point. It still made,
Yeah.
even then, it still only made half of what
I
Black
feel
Widow
you.
did.
I just want so
even
badly
though more
to believe
people
in it.
are at home.
Yeah.
I mean, it just seems really hard. By the way, Mark Vell is in the live chat and sends in a super chat badge, as Jarrett Garcia also sends in a live chat. Thank you guys. A super badge is in the live chat. Thank you guys. Appreciate that very much, man. Anyway, the question is for you guys. What do you think of these numbers? To me, you can try to spin and song and dance and put on a happy face as much as you want. $34 million at the box office and $30 million on Disney Premium Plus is a disaster for a $200 million movie. And in 47 other countries around the world, only 27 million more. Even when Disney puts out this press release, and I've got it on my email here, puts out this press release trying to announce it made like 90 something million, even when they're like combining the international, the domestic, the Disney Plus numbers, it still is like, guys, this is a $200 million movie. I don't know. Guys, question is for you. What do you think was the cause of this? I mean, you could probably blame the variant on maybe the box office result, but then more people are staying at home and they didn't check it out on Disney Plus, at least not in nearly big enough numbers. Do you think it's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's appeal is diminishing? Is Emily Blunt's appeal diminishing? Is the classic family adventure movie just not all that interesting? Or is it something else? Question is for you guys. What do you put behind this? Jump on down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.